All right, and we are live.
Woo!
Woo! We are all conscious on the internet, and we are not dead just yet. But anyway, so anyone who's seen my previous movie review, this is going to be kind of like a part 2, but obviously there's a twist because there are some guests this time. But there will be spoilers, so if you don't want to know them, you should go on and get, because there's going to be spoilers all over here. So.
But I haven't seen the movie yet.
Wow. That might be a problem, Mike.
If you have not seen the movie, you need the boots on. But I guess I don't know how you want to do this. Should we do like little micro introductions? I guess.
Yeah, everybody can just kind of like if they have YouTube channels or whatever they love about Star Wars, they can kind of get their little small brief introduction about it, and that'd be really cool.
Okay. I mean, I guess for people coming from these guest channels who don't know me, when it comes to movies, albums, TV shows, I do like reaction videos and reviews. It's mostly movie related, but I mean, I promote my own art to my channel as well. So that's a little bit about my YouTube channel, Jor-Els Alexandria. And who wants to go first?
Mike? Really? I didn't catch that, Mike. Can you please tell us who you are?
These are not the droids you are looking for. But no, I am That Geeky Gent over on Twitter. Everything you need to know about me is right down there. You can see it right down there. I'm Mike Phelps. Not to mention Jabba the Hutt is the type of coffee brand that I love to drink. And you can find me at That Geeky Gents. And I am the master of all things that are from the land of nerdom. So, Star Wars is covered under that. That is why I am here. And remember, these are not the droids you are looking for.
This is going to be an interesting discussion. Oh my god.
He said he was the master of everything nerdom. I can't touch that.
No. I'm just over here with hammer pants on right now.
Oh my gosh. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, ladies first, in my opinion.
Alrighty. I'm Shakeem. I don't Twitter or tweet, and I don't have a YouTube page. Just a lover of movies. According to my mom, when Return of the Jedi came out, it sold out, and I threw a temper tantrum. I was like 4 years old.
Like
so,
Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Yes. Probably not that big, though, because my mom would beat my ass. So, yeah. I'm just here to hear everybody's thoughts, share my opinions.
Sweet.
And who we got next, Kyle? Or?
Yeah, I can go. All right. Well, first I'm here because of Sam. I'm a friend of Sam's. We've known each other for going on 2 years or something like that, Sam.
Yeah, it's almost 3 now.
Yeah. But I have a YouTube channel, NS Nevs. I do like some gameplay videos and stuff like that. I've done some movie reviews. Huge movie buff. I like long walks on Jakku. And
Wow.
and I mean that's pretty much it. I mean I'm not gonna say I'm the master of everything nerdom over there, but I got some knowledge. I picked up that Daniel Craig cameo. That's good enough, right?
Pretty good.
You know, that's really good. If you picked it up the first time without knowing about it, then yeah, you're the man.
We'll talk about that later, though. Let's continue with the introduction.
Yeah. And this is,
Wait, hold on. Did you actually pick up the Mandalorian symbol in the flags?
Sorry, I'm just getting a bit excited because I just took somebody out with a smart rocket whilst they were flying mid-air, so I'm a bit happy about that. It was pretty awesome.
So,
I did not mind.
Points, Kyle, on the whole getting Ben Kenobi.
so
I guess.
Be left to introduce myself because everybody else has. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. I thought you were still busy playing the. Go for it, son.
We lost anyway. Right, if you don't know me by now, there's something wrong with you lot. No, only joking. Right, for those of you who don't know, Sam obviously knows. I think Jor-Els also knows. I'm CK61938, hail in the UK. As you can see from the posters behind me, I'm a massive Superman fan, and obviously from the T-shirt that I'm wearing, tattoos as well, all go in. So I've been doing videos on YouTube for almost coming on to about 9 years now. I kind of started off just doing real life stuff, then I moved on to Smallville reviews, and it's pretty much all picked up from there. I don't do TV reviews as much as I used to, because beforehand I was reviewing Arrow and The Flash. I've sort of toned it down a bit now. I still do the odd movie review. Obviously, I've done my Star Wars review as well. Next year, obviously, I'll be doing the big one for Batman v Superman. If you do follow my channel as well, you'll know that I hold competitions for some of the movies as well. I've just done one for Star Wars. I'll be doing one for Batman v Superman, and also obviously for Suicide Squad when that comes out in August. 35 years old, work in IT, live with my girlfriend who's, as we speak, is busy listening to music in the front room. I think I'm hearing Justin Bieber at one point.
You're 35?
I'm 35, yes. Hard to believe, isn't it?
Don't look like it, man.
Well, thank you. But yeah, 35 years old, working IT, so yeah, that's great. Anyway, let's crack on.
Okay, all right. I guess hold on. There's a gotta take my headphones off. For a second. There was a weird echo thing going on. But I guess to start, let's just dissect this bad boy. Let's start with just each person's thoughts on Kylo Ren. There were some things that I wanted to touch upon in my previous movie review that I didn't really get to satisfactory for me. But Kylo Ren, I love this character. Specifically, some scenes I didn't get to discuss when he had his helmet off, or when he was just interrogating like people's minds, almost on a literal level, like Poe Dameron and Ray. I just thought he was really eerie. I mean, I know some people were sort of disappointed by it's just Adam Driver's clean-shaven face and not just like some monstrous-looking guy. But I love that he was just like just a regular guy. There was something really eerie about him. He kind of, when he didn't have the mask on, he sort of reminded me of like how a snake is physically before it's right about to strike. He just seemed very just uneven, always, just like always disturbed. So what are your guys' thoughts about Kylo Ren?
When I went, go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I honestly thought, I mean, I can't remember who it was I was speaking to, but someone did say, when he takes off his mask, it's just literally just Adam Driver's face, and I said, well, naturally Adam Driver is ugly, but
Whoa.
There's not much else you can do.
He's not lying.
Hold on, wait, okay.
Fair.
All right, hold on. I've seen Adam Driver one time. He was in that show Girls on HBO, okay? All right? And I only watched that one time. But when I saw that man take that mask off in Star Wars for the first time, that was the first time I think I might have had a little bit of a crush on the guy. And I am in no way, homosexual. Nothing against that. But
not that there's anything wrong with that.
It's nothing wrong with that at all, Kyle, and you're not the first person to say that. At least
that
not
man
the first
is not ugly.
male.
Might be now. But
it's interesting because yes, he does have an intimidating look about him. Under the mask, he's more intimidating, but when he takes it off, I suppose if you see the emotion in his face, it does seem to be more intimidating. And it's very interesting because I'm sure it'll come episode 8, because if you look closely up after he had a fight with Rey, you see that she scarred his face.
Yeah, straight like this.
So it's like pretty much right down his face. So by the next episode, we're going to see him more, pretty much on a Darth Vader level type of scarring in terms of how he's going to look. He's going to look disfigured, and I think he's also going to feel the effects of that particular fight, and that's going to prey on him when he next meets Rey again, if they ever have another battle with each other. So I mean, he is intimidating. It was just, I know a lot of people had a problem with saying, well, it's just Adam Driver without a mask. It's like, well, yes, but at the same time, no. You just have to take the fact that this is the first time we're seeing Kylo Ren. Let's not forget he is Han Solo's and also General Leia's son. This is the first time we've seen him. This is the first time he's actually encountered another person who is strong with the Force, doesn't realize that they're strong with the Force, so he wasn't expecting to be outmatched and outwitted and outdone by someone like Rey. Yeah. To him, that was a massive shock. So for him, next time he's going to be thinking, okay, you had the element of surprise. Let's see what you can do this time.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the fact that, like, kind of like Jor-El kind of said, he was uneven. When I did my review for it, I actually said that he was unbalanced in the sense that he was being tempted by the light, which that whole premise in and of itself is just so awesome sounding, because that means that inherently he was born into something of light, but he's trying to emulate somebody that he doesn't even really understand. And I thought that whole premise makes his character so different but menacing because he's unpredictable. A lot of people kind of compare him to like a child. I don't compare him to a child. I think that he is knowing what he's doing, but at the same exact time, he's trying to release the remaining bit of his humanity. But it's almost as though he doesn't have that capacity to really do that. Case in point, when he killed his dad, like, I thought that when he was about to kind of give his dad the lightsaber, which I love Poe Dameron's quote when he was like, just as long as we stay in the light, we'll be okay. As soon as the light shut after that point, and he kind of gave over the lightsaber, you see, like, literally the dark cloud, like, hit the whole entire atmosphere. And I love that sequence because that's when he killed Han. But it was like he did that because he was suffering in the sense of him wanting to go to light internally. But he knows that he wants to emulate Darth Vader in such a way that it makes him so convoluted. And I love that about his character. And to be fair, that fight sequence, if Chewie hadn't have wounded him in his abdomen, I kind of feel like they wouldn't have won that fight, to be quite honest with you. He was bleeding a lot. And he was sitting there like hitting his chest like this just to try to maintain himself. But I was sitting there watching the way he wielded his lightsaber and just how much raw power he had. A lot of people are like, man, he kind of went out like a punk. I was like, dude, he got hit in the chest with something that Chewie has been nailing all these stormtroopers with, and they haven't been recovering from them, you know, and he just kept moving. And so I think that, yeah, there's going to be another altercation with him and Rey, and I loved his character. A lot of people don't, but I really loved when he was out of mask and when he was on mask. But when he was out of mask, it showed his vulnerability. And
one thing we have to actually remember about Kylo Ren, though, is that he's kind of full of himself. He is someone that is an arrogant SOB. Getting his tail kicked the way he did by Rey is going to be something that sticks with him. It's going to be like that little, every time he turns around, he's going to be thinking that moment that his cousin basically just whooped his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the way that it basically sticks with him. It's going to be an underlining, like, personal character flaw within him. Not to mention, just to add to what was said before, this isn't his first time actually seeing someone strong in the Force. I mean, he was taught as a young Jedi, as a young Padawan, by Luke Skywalker when he was actually trying to restart the Jedi Temple. So he has actually seen people that are strong in the Force before. That's one of the reasons he was able to actually identify what type of Force user she is. Not to mention, that's why he was so shook when he basically came up against her and tried to pull her thoughts, and how she was able to resist with the Force. That's something that shook his foundation. If you look at the character itself, I mean, there's also that relationship between him and Commander Snook. There's like a parental father role that Commander Snook has played for Kylo Ren itself. Not to mention, Supreme Leader Snook, Supreme Commander Snook, has actually seen that Kylo Ren has an internal struggle going on between the light and the dark. That's one of the reasons he felt that his training can be completed now because of basically him killing his father. He basically gave up his only link to the light side of the Force.
And I think it's important to keep in mind that not only has he not like fought someone really worthy of the saber yet, but he's very impatient and reckless. You know what I mean? I mean, he's going back and forth with conversations between him and Darth Vader helmet. I mean, he's not really. He's almost like a poser in a sense. Someone like kind of just look at me, like he's a lot of bluff at the current time. At least in the Force Awakens. But I have a feeling that his skill set will definitely sharpen for the sequel. But Kyle or Chris, your guys' thoughts?
Let me just start on saying that Adam Driver, he's a beautiful man. Also, I have to say, as Kylo Ren was probably, and not because my name kind of matches up with his, it was a beautiful character, and when he killed Han Solo, there was a lot of things that were happening around them. Like if you noticed how the sun was going out finally, it started to close into just darkness, and finally when Han died, it was completely black. The sun was gone. It was ready to go. That was something in the background I don't think a lot of people noticed, and it's almost a reverse Luke Skywalker Darth Vader thing, because you had Luke kill his father then, and that was like the defining point where Luke became that prime light side Jedi, and now this is the defining point where Kylo finally went over to the dark side, probably completely. But if you remember in the prequel trilogy, with Anakin, you notice when he went into what was it, Mustafar, he went in and killed all those separatist leaders and stuff. His eyes, they went yellow. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're doing away with that effect or if they're just not going to use that, but that was something that really told me, it was like, wow, he's gone. Like, he's done. And
physical attributes to the dark side of the Force actually are attributed to being fully immersed into the dark side of the Force. Kylo Ren wasn't there until the end of the Force Awakens. So those physical changes will probably actually go hand in hand with that scar. You'll probably start seeing those yellow eyes. You'll start seeing the physical attributes to what Kylo Ren should be looking like as a Dark Force user at his level.
Yeah, and there's a lot of speculation on his helmet design. If you guys are familiar with the Knights of the Old Republic and Darth Raven, his helmet is comparable to how Darth Raven looks, and Kylo Ren, Raven, and the Knights of Ren, and you got to remember the Knights of Ren started out as under Luke's teachings, and Kylo, somewhere along the road, either he got puppet strings pulled by Snoke, or he saw the power of the dark side like Anakin did, and he just lost it. And I'm sure obviously that's going to be explained in the follow-up.
Now, with the hologram that we saw of Commander Snoke, you know exactly who he is. I mean, look at that figure. He's a Mun, not to mention he's someone that is years older than he actually looks. There's some miles on that tread.
Yeah,
with that being the case, he's Darth Plagueis.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That actually affirmed it for me the first view that we actually saw of him. He's Darth freaking Plagueis.
Yeah, now for those that don't know who Darth Plagueis is anybody the dissection of who the character is, or before we even go there?
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
Do you want to give us your perspective on Kylo Ren?
Thank you.
Did you say me?
Yeah, you.
I really like the character. I'm sorry, Kyle, I have to disagree with you. When he took the mask off, I was a little disappointed. He wasn't the hottie I thought he was going to be. Actually, I went with a girlfriend, and she was like, oh, no, he should be much hotter under that mask. But,
Wow.
Wow.
But
No.
Pause. I like the way when he had the mask on, he was super confident. And then when he had the mask off, you could really tell that he was struggling with trying to be this dark being, but it just wasn't, he still had that inner conflict going on. So I think that he did a really good job of showing completely forgot the word I was looking for. I guess the duality and the struggle that's going on, the inner conflict that's going on.
That's a good word, duality, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just I love the tantrums, or I guess tantrum wouldn't be the right word, the rage outs that he was having, and how it just seemed like that was just like a natural occurrence, and I think that was also part of him struggling with, like, I'm trying to be evil. Why the fuck can't I just be the evil person that I want to be? And so, you know, then he's trying to do evil stuff. It fails. He tears everything up, and like all of the stormtroopers are like, no, let him have his moment. We're gonna go this way. Yeah, so I think that they laid a really good foundation, and I'm really going to enjoy seeing him take his permanent slide into the dark side.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Chris, some of your thoughts on Kylo Ren, just in general?
Right.
Somebody's muted.
Yeah, you're mute. Your thing's muted.
Wait, who's muted?
Right.
Bob Marley.
Oh,
That's Jimi
no.
Hendrix.
Is that Jimmy Hendrix?
No, that's
Jimi Hendrix.
real.
It's minimized.
No, that's
My screen's
that's me.
minimized. Oh, that's you?
Yeah.
It's a long story.
Don't even go out there.
Yeah, it's a long story.
What we got next, man?
Okay, did Chris want to give us thoughts, or can he hear us right now?
I don't think Chris is in this.
Chris,
I don't see him.
Or the other person hasn't spoken yet. Maybe I messed up his name.
Talking about CK or Walila?
CK, yeah.
I've already given my sort of.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
man's trying to play Battlefront 2, man. I mean,
Yeah.
Battlefront.
Oh, okay.
I mean, all I'll just quickly add on. I mean, like everyone else has said, he does have this rage about him, and it is about the pull back to the light, given that, you know, he is Han and Leia's son, and also being trained by Luke as well. So effectively, he's all been trained, you know, in the light side of the Force. But there was obviously some sort of conflict within him that then brought him to the dark side, which is where he became, you know, trained under the Knights of Ren. And as we've just established, that Supreme Leader Snoke is in fact, or led to believe, is Darth Plagueis. That you know, he wants, because he's fighting these two sides of himself. After he killed Han, I think that cemented his belief that he is now pretty much journeying more to the dark side than he is to the light. You know, he, as he was saying with you know, to Han, he said, "Look, I've got a problem. I don't know how to get rid of it. Would you mind helping me?" Now, at that moment, I thought to myself, "Oh, okay, maybe he is finally seeing sense. Maybe he's actually gonna become a good Jedi. He's gonna not defect to the Knights of Ren or become a Sith Lord or anything like that." But at the back of my mind, I also thought, he's going to kill Han.
Yeah.
Or there's going to be a struggle of some sort between the pair of them, and, you know, they'll have a bit of a fight, and then somehow he kills Han Solo. But when he just instantly killed him right there and then, I was like, okay, that I wasn't expecting. And at the same time, you just felt this, for him, for Kylo, he just felt this, like, weight lifted off his shoulder.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, like,
As if to
there,
say,
I did it. It's done.
finally,
Yeah.
I've now accomplished what has been defecting me from going towards my goal. My goal is to become a supreme, you know, Sith Lord, this, that, and the other. And now you've pretty much have been in the way of that. I've now got rid of you. I can now progress.
Yeah.
So it was that conflict he was battling with, and I guess for him, Han was in his way, and I'm sure he's probably going to do the same to Leia when he faces her, whenever that's going to be.
Wow. Dang, I didn't even think about that.
So he can cut it down.
Yeah, exactly. So who knows if he does get to the stage of. It's funny how the conversation that he has with Snoke, that they both talk about Han and not Leia. They talk about how, what's he going to do when he faces Han. They don't mention what is going to happen if he faces Leia. So does this lead us to believe that he is more scared of Leia than he is of Han? Knowing that Leia, in some ways, does have the Force in her. We haven't seen her use it. We haven't seen her, you know, manipulate it in any way. She does have the Force within her. Whether or not she actually is going to use it later on in the other episodes remains to be seen. And if it does go down that road, is Kylo really scared of his mother that he will not want to go up against her. Is that going to be the moment that he's going to say, do you know what? I may have defeated my father easily. That's allowed me to take this path down the dark side. But I think my mother is going to be the one that's going to actually be the final nail in the coffin as to whether or not my training is complete to go down the dark side, or if I'm going to defect back to the light side.
Sure.
So that's my bit on it anyway.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure you had. But let's move on to one thing that's how dense you can tell this movie is. One thing I didn't get a chance to touch upon in my past movie review was on BB-8 and Poe Dameron. So I just wanted to go around and see what your guys' just thoughts in general are on BB-8 and Poe Dameron. My thoughts, I think that BB-8 is literally the most perfect, cutest son of a bitch I think I've ever seen in terms of droid.
Besides Adam Driver, right?
But this fool is perfect. And I thought that Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac, I think there wasn't enough of him for me to be like, oh, this is one of my new favorite characters. But I mean, I like his character. I think he's cool. I loved when at the very beginning when we'll touch upon the use of the Force. But when he comes face to face with Kylo Ren, and he's like, "So is it my turn to talk? Are you talking? Who's talking?" You know, I like his personality a lot. But I just thought he was a little bit underused. And of course, we'll get to negatives separately. But I think my favorite moment with BB-8 would probably be when Finn was having a conversation with him and hoping that BB-8 was trying to help him out. Yeah, I thought that was fantastic.
That was hilarious.
BB-8's head would just like turn certain ways, and those would be like a facial expression. Anyway, yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on BB-8 and Poe Dameron?
Don't all rush at once, kids.
I was about to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, like you, I thought that Poe was underused, and I don't want to poke too many holes until I guess the negative part comes, but it just kind of seems like they threw him in there, like, okay, here's the story, here's what's happening, okay, now you go away, and then we'll bring you back kind of unexplained later on. Well, explained, but just kind of like a quick washover of it.
Sure.
But yeah, he was pretty funny. I think for the small time that you saw him, he was good comic relief, as was BB-8. And it's funny how they have, a little robot, and for some reason, like, stuff is happening and you're feeling sorry for this little robot. Like when he sees like everything blow up, and then he's like, oh, and you're in the audience like, oh, like, so I thought they did a really good job actually making you feel something for something that's not living at all. Yeah, so I thought he was a cute character, and I think my favorite scene with him too was when he's like helping him find the tools, and he's like, that one right there, and so he grabs it and throws it over, and then BB-8 like throws the little thumbs up sign. That was
Yeah, that was so cute.
Good input, Sam.
Yeah, no, like real talk. I really do like what they did with BB-8 from a functionality standpoint. Like it looked. I mean, I know that they literally designed this thing to be able to move. Because the fact is that when I saw Finn and Rey like running from the stormtroopers when they were on Jakku, and I'm sitting there watching this little ball like keeping up with them, I thought it was so awesome on a visual standpoint and a comedic level, because I was like, you would never expect you see something like this kind of just flowing in like that. Is somebody just join us?
I think so.
Okay.
Is that Chris?
I think so.
Man, I've been talking out, man. I'm sorry for coming in late, man. I wanted to out. Oh my God, I was all over the place. I had to activate my Twitter. Oh my God, I'm trying to negate with all the stuff I've been through, man. Go ahead, man. I'm here now, man. I'm here now, man. I'm here now. Sorry about that, guys.
It's okay. But nah, as far as BB-8, I just love the way that he functioned. And he was so comedic. I mean, all the things I loved about R2-D2, but then, like you said, like those head movements, I thought it was really cute. I like the way they did him, as well as like his role with Poe Dameron, because it wasn't just like I would have loved to see more Poe Dameron, but it was like him and Poe Dameron had such an interesting connection. It reminded me of Luke and R2-D2. The thing about Poe Dameron is that he was funny and comic relief, but at the same time, he had a little bit of swag to him in the way that he did stuff. Like, even when Finn was kind of describing him, like, using those, like, the aerodynamic skills that he had with the pilot skills, I was like, this dude is awesome. That was my impression of him. And I want to see more of him, but one of the things I found out, and I was talking to Mike about it, is the fact that his character was actually supposed to die. J.J. Abrams had initially had him written in to kind of be there to die, and then he said that he wanted to work him in to do more. And I see where they're going to go with him now. They didn't explain like how he just miraculously survived the crash. I wish they would have kind of went into that a little bit more. But either way, like every sequence that I saw him in as the pilot, I was like, wait, no, this dude is a really good pilot. But I was thinking Anakin Skywalker's supposed to be the best pilot there was. So I was sitting there going back and forth with my thought process of just how good he was.
Luke Skywalker.
True, but at the same time, like more people debate that Anakin was better than Luke as far as pilot skills are concerned. But either way, I mean, I love Poe Dameron. I actually really liked him. I wish I would have saw more of him.
Okay.
Well, we know one thing from that torture scene. Why is there an echo?
I think it's Chris.
I think so too.
Chris, can you mute real quick until you're ready to talk?
I can mute myself. I can mute myself actually.
Okay. But
yeah.
I blanked out what I was gonna say. But yeah, Mike, what's your thoughts on BB-8 and Poe Dameron?
Poe Dameron, my thoughts on him is that he was completely underutilized, but we got one great scene with him and Kylo Ren that proved he wasn't a Force user. He's not a Force sensitive, he's not a Force user because he couldn't fight through... Okay. He couldn't fight through that whole torture scene, and that was a problem. But I'll get to the problems later. BB-8 is... You can say what you want to about it. BB-8 is the son of R2-D2. In some way, shape, and or form.
Oh, yeah.
R2-D2 gave birth to that thing.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bad mental image.
It's the love child of C-3PO and R2-D2.
Oh, that's real. That's worse. That's worse.
A beach ball and R2-D2 got together and had a night out.
By the way, I think that BB-8 is transgender because sometimes I think it's a guy. I think it's a guy sometimes, and then like no, it's female. No, it's a guy. No, wait, maybe it's a female.
I think the same thing about C-3PO though too.
You think he's transgender?
Yeah.
I mean, why not?
I mean, he is a protocol droid.
I thought he was a proper gentleman. I just.
I mean, I thought he was a kid too, man. I was a little boy.
I mean, it's not like C-3PO was caught red-handed in this movie.
But no, Kyle, what were your thoughts on the two characters? What'd you think?
Well, I actually I don't agree with you guys in the sense that Poe was underutilized. I think they're leaving a lot more room for him in the next movie. Really, let's be honest, he's not the worst in underutilization as Captain Phasma was.
At least he didn't get the short end of the stick like some people in the movie, like, let's say, Finn.
Yeah, Finn, yeah. But see, they're leaving more room for him as well. Like,
yeah.
You have to remember that movie was like almost 3 hours long, and they fit like.
Well, 2 hours and 60 minutes. 2 hours and 60 minutes.
Close enough, right? Anyways. Yeah, but I mean, BB-8, he has this puppy dog effect. Let's be real. He was the puppy dog of The Force Unleashed. Like, if the dog dies in the movie, you're like tears for about 3 hours afterwards. You know what I mean? And that's how it's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna kill off BB-8. Who knows? R4 died in number 3, right? Remember R4?
Yep.
Rest in peace, R4. But Poe, I mean, he's a good character. I think he's kind of in there to kind of replace Han Solo's slot a little bit, because he's gone now. There's no more Han Solo. Chewbacca, he's single now, and I definitely think Poe is there to replace Han Solo, and BB-8 he served his function as the whole R2-D2 Obi-Wan Kenobi my only hope kind of thing. But he's definitely the puppy dog of the series. They actually had 8 different BB-8s set for different sequences, which I thought was really crazy because that thing's expensive to make. But my favorite scene with BB-8 actually was when he was going down the stairs in that cantina scene with following.
Ray.
Yeah, Ray, following Ray. He was just like slowly falling down the steps. He was so graceful in everything else he did, but going down steps was like the worst thing for him, and I thought that was the best. I cracked up so hard there.
To
I
be
was
fair, that's how you torture a ball. You toss it
Yeah.
down a flight of stairs.
Oh, he looked really pissed off. He was like, "This girl going down here in the cellar. We just got here." You know? But yeah, I enjoyed the character BB-8, but Poe, I wasn't the biggest fan of him. But I wasn't really that big of a fan of Han Solo either, to be honest with you. But that's just my personal.
Here's a question. For,
Okay.
Here's a question for you. Or go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Chris or CK, what were your guys' thoughts?
I mean, I myself, I
Let me go. Let me go first. Well, I'm gonna be honest here, people, and it's gonna be kind of crazy. This is my first Star Wars movie, but me going into this movie, I'm gonna see it 2 more times. But me watching the character Poe, to me in general, I gotta say I liked it. I actually did love this character. You know, watching the movie start off with them and seeing all this stuff going on, and I gotta admit, to me, the Poe character, I really like that character. I really feel like, but I do agree with one of the guys. I do agree with the guys that say that I think he got a character got underdeveloped. He could have got developed more. But I understand you try to set up Finn and Raya and other characters. But I actually liked the Poe. I think his character served a purpose. I think he wasn't just a standing character to be killed. Because for me, I only watched the trailer one time, but going into it, I gotta say Poe. I gotta say he was one of my favorite characters besides Kylo Ren, which I know a lot of people may rip into him. Like, I actually like the little temper tantrums because it made it more funny. Like, wow, like, and that. So I mean, for me, I think Poe is a really good character. I really hope he gets more development in Episode 8, though. I hope he really get more development. But to me, I had a problem with the character. To me, this is my first Star Wars movie, so for me, it was 10 out of 10 for me. But I gotta admit, I love this movie, and Poe was one of my favorite characters besides Raya, and besides Finn. So I mean, that's my personal opinion, though.
Sure. Okay.
Next.
Yeah, no, for me, I really enjoyed BB-8. He was just comical. He had feeling as well. He had emotions. And the interaction that he had with Finn, when Finn was basically telling him, "Look, I'm not part of the Resistance," and he was like, "Whoa, hold the fuck up! What? You're not part of the Resistance? You're wearing Poe Dameron's jacket. You're not part of the Resistance? I think I ought to kill you or something." You know, that reaction that he had, and then when Ray was asking, "So where is this base of yours?" and you could see him just turning between both Ray and Finn, like. What do I say?
What do I do? What do I do?
You've got me in the corner here, dude. But then as soon as Finn gave the thumbs up, and then you see his little lighter up as a thumbs up, I was like, you know what? This guy's got character. I like it. I absolutely like BB-8, and I'm sure in the next films we'll see him just develop more, and I'm hoping for more interaction between himself, R2-D2, and also C-3PO as well, which I think just between the 3 of them, they could be like the 3 Musketeers of Star Wars, as far as I'm concerned. If they just do a spin-off film with those 3, I would thoroughly enjoy it.
Wow.
But for Poe as well, I mean, like some of you, I do feel that he was slightly underused. There was no explanation of where he disappeared to. We don't even know how he got back to the Resistance.
Right.
Were the Resistance on Jakku? Were they elsewhere? That for me was quite a massive sort of plot hole in that sense. But the character of Poe reminds me of how Luke Skywalker started out. He was young, fresh-faced, and he is a damn good pilot as well. And I think there's plenty more for the character to develop, and I'm sure we'll see. He, as was mentioned earlier, he could well replace Han Solo in that respect. In that he's now going to be the next sort of smuggler pilot, wisecracking cowboy essentially for this new trilogy that they want to do. So no, I think overall as a character, Poe fits the dynamic really well. I'm glad that he wasn't killed off as they originally wanted to. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I think now they were looking essentially for someone to kind of replace Harrison Ford's Han Solo. Not obviously a new Han Solo, but someone who just carry that mantle essentially and become the next, co-pilot for Chewbacca. And I think Poe's the right person for it. And being a damn good pilot, well, he's got all the skills anyway, so there's no problem there.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, let's get into our thoughts in general about Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, and Finn, played by John Boyega. I mean, for me personally, I thought they were. Ironically, I think that Finn, for me personally, is sort of like a replacement for Han Solo in a sense. I mean, this kid, I was saying this in my review, but this kid is just like bursting with like genuinely funny stuff and real charisma. You know what I mean? I think he's just incredible. Just so much energy in his performance. Like there was one scene with him and Captain Phasma where he was like, you see that, Captain? I'm in control. You see that? I'm in control. I thought that was great. And Rey.
Oh my gosh!
If I'm not mistaken, I think she is a complete unknown before this. I think this might be her first film, and she killed it. Daisy Ridley, like just the first few shots with her, like kind of like a dot against the landscape of the Star Destroyer, and kind of seeing her grungy, just really kind of bleak lifestyle, to her just kicking ass later on. I thought she was great. I wish we got some backstory into the staff. Everybody was like, we're going to get answers on that. But no, I think Rey and Finn were great. And I'm not sure who was my favorite, but what were your guys' thoughts on Rey and Finn?
Rey won me over the second I saw her the AT-AT. The second that she was smart enough to actually use an AT-AT in the way she did won me the heck over. I mean, she was so able to think on the edge of your seat and knew just how to survive just by being dropped off on that planet. And you actually got to see how long she's been there. I mean, she was there for years upon years upon years. Which I think the chemistry between her and Finn, it was pretty good. I liked it, but I liked actually seeing Rey by herself. I liked actually seeing Rey when she went off to find Luke Skywalker, when she was with BB-8, her interactions without Finn, because it seemed like John Boyega, in a way, the way that he was portraying Finn, it seemed like there was a power struggle between both of them on camera. Both of them were trying to sort of outshine the other, which was something that I found a unique chemistry and found it interesting to watch, but it really made it to where Rey is the character I want to see overcome. She's the one I want to see persevere. I mean, she's the next generation of Jedi.
Well, see, I kind of disagree in the sense of the perspective of their chemistry, because the way he's introduced is his connection with Poe Dameron, and she is just not stagnant, but she's fine with just being in Jakku. She's waiting for her family. She was not going anywhere. And it's like he had this fear of the Order that he was not trying to get anywhere near Jakku. So it was like they were the perfect medium for each other. Every single time that something would happen, Finn had this need to protect her. It wasn't just a power struggle, in my opinion, or him trying to be over her like a male-dominant kind of thing, because that can be perpetuated. But I feel like he had a love and a concern for her, in that he never had that before, because what he was born into was this new order, and it wasn't that he had any perspective of being like with a family or protecting anybody. It was almost destroy, conquer, XYZ, XYZ. And so it's like when he met with this girl, and he sees the first time he sees her in trouble, and it's defining for her character, but it brings something about him and his characteristics of how he is, and how he has a care and a love for just people in general. He wants to protect people. The reason why he went left, he came back, was because he saw them shooting from their base. He wasn't necessarily coming back for her. He was coming back in the general sense of he wanted to just protect. And then when you saw her defending herself as a female lead, like, it's comparable to Furiosa in Mad Max. Like, she is, in my opinion, the defining female character this year. Like, more than most female superheroes that I've seen. Like, this girl can take care of herself, and she doesn't even know it. And that's what I really loved about her character, in the sense that all this power that she has within her, she knows how to survive, but she didn't know inherently how much power she actually had. And it's scary to actually witness. And I love that about her innocence, and even when she starts to actually grab Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, how she didn't even want that, because it was just so overwhelming in the sense of what she was seeing. So I feel like they pinged off of each other. In order for her to get to be where she needs to be, she needed Finn. And for Finn to be able to move into the direction he needed to be, it was an equal measure kind of thing. Because that's the reason why, after she got knocked out at the end by the hands of Kylo Ren, he picked up the lightsaber. He didn't pick it up thinking that he'd be able to win. He just knew he had to protect this girl. It's almost like he knew this is her lightsaber, but I'm going to protect this girl as long as I can. And I love that about the symmetry of their characters.
See, that's the problem that I sort of found with Finn. He basically, it seemed like a forced redemption story. It seemed like something that was sort of being forced upon the story itself. And that's something that sort of, not to mention he played the male role. He started off by thinking that she was a weak, unable to defend herself. I mean, he got away from that mindset, but then he went right back to it the second that she found out she disappeared right at the cantina.
But I don't think he did that because she was a female. I think he did that because he is genuinely in love with this girl. He wanted to protect her. It was something about his connection with her, and I think he kind of blatantly described it to her before he left. It was that she saw something in him, even though she didn't express it. It was the way he felt when he was around her. I don't think he did that from a feministic standpoint. That he was like, all right, I got to be the male protector. I feel like he just generally wanted to be there to help. I really don't see it as that way, personally.
Let's just say I was happy when he was struck down by a lightsaber. That was one of my favorite parts of the movie. That's all I'm going to say right now.
All right. But let's get some more thoughts on Finn and Rey. Who else wants to go next?
I'll go for it.
I don't mind. Well, what I was going to say, I mean, I really enjoyed Rey. She is she can take care of herself. She's a tough cookie. She doesn't need anyone else to fight her battles for her. But at the same time, she's very aware of her surroundings. She does know what is going on. I mean, like the instance when she rescued BB-8, and she was going to, because she's a scavenger, she's going to take all her parts that she's managed to scavenge, gather up, and BB-8's with her, and then you see the guy there saying, look, I'll give you 60 portions for the droid, and she's thinking, why is it you're suddenly interested in this droid? I've come here almost every day for however many years, all these parts and stuff, and you've given me rations of portions and whatnot just for me to survive every day, but suddenly I bring this droid and you're like, okay, have everything that's on offer. So that prompts her to say, you're willing to give me this amount for this droid, I think I'm going to keep him. That was her awareness to say, yeah, something's definitely not right here. And then obviously when Finn shows up, BB-8 recognizes Poe Dameron's jacket, and straight away her first instinct was, you've killed his master, that's why you've got his jacket. She doesn't know the full backstory till Finn eventually tells her, and then she realizes, okay, something else is definitely going on here. And when she actually, the part that I really was fascinated by was when she first put her hand on Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, and then everything had changed around her. She was in this dreamscape sort of surrounding. We hear voices, and it's actually been as well. I don't know if you guys were aware, but earlier today it's actually been confirmed that two of the cameo voices are that of Yoda and Obi-Wan Kenobi by Ewan McGregor. So they are voicing towards Rey. So they're still out there, and in terms of how both of them have appeared towards Luke in the original trilogies. And just an interesting tidbit as well. One of the stormtroopers is actually Daniel Craig, by the way. In case you didn't know, the stormtrooper is the guy that she tells to unlock her chains and leave the cell door open. That was Daniel Craig. I had no idea it was him, but I thought that was quite funny. So even then, even when she comes up against Kylo Ren as well, we're seeing the struggle inside her. Kylo's actually struggling more because he's thinking, I want to read your mind. I can read your mind because I've done it to everybody else. But for some weird reason, she's starting to restrain his power. She's stopping him from reading his mind. But in turn, what she does is she flips it on him by reading his mind. Especially when she says, you're afraid that you'll never be as strong as Darth Vader. And he pulls back and thinks, okay, there's something about this girl that I've never seen before. And that surprised him. But it surprised her as well, which is why she then tested it on the stormtrooper to see, am I really what Kylo Ren thinks that I am? Do I have this power? Can I try and use it on someone else? And perfect example is a stormtrooper, because they are weak-minded. They are effectively drones. They are told what to do and they do it without questioning. And that leads me on to Finn, who is a stormtrooper that actually realizes, hang on, I'm a stormtrooper, but do I have to do what I'm told? Am I really just going to be a mindless drone that does what he's told day in, day out? Because when he saw what was happening with the villagers at the beginning of the film, he thought to himself, I can't do this. This isn't me. This isn't who I am. So when he breaks out Poe Dameron and Poe's asking him, why are you doing this? He says, because it's the right thing to do. And that cemented his belief that he wants to do good, that he's had enough of being in the First Order. He knows what they're like, which is why he then leads the crusade against the First Order on their massive Star Killer, which was very intimidating, by the way. To take out the take out the Star Killer, but obviously he worked in sanitation. Now that was kind of interesting for me, in a sense that, now I don't know what it's like for you guys in America for your nightclubs and such, but here in the UK, we've got some of the nightclubs and bars. There's black people working in the toilets. Now, when I mean working in the toilets, what I mean is, when you go into the bathroom, you go to freshen up. They're there to help you, like, give you aftershave and help you wash your hand, all that sort of stuff, right? So when Finn's telling Han Solo he worked in sanitation, I'm thinking, wait, was he here in the UK at one point and he's defected now to the First Order, starts working for the First Order, realizes that sanitation isn't really where he wants to be? And I'm thinking, that's exactly what we've got over here. We've got people that work in sanitation, not probably as bad as what Finn had it, but at the same time, they've worked in that area. So for me, I thought to myself, oh, poor Finn. He's been taken away as a kid. That's obviously affected him. Maybe we'll see something regarding his childhood. Who took him away? Was it Captain Phasma? Was it someone else that took him away as a kid, engineered him to become a stormtrooper? These are the things that we don't know happens to a stormtrooper. So Finn, being a stormtrooper who defects, goes against the First Order. He's obviously the first stormtrooper that we've come across that has a backstory. Because every other stormtrooper out there, we don't know anything about them. We've never known where they're from, what their background is, how they even became a stormtrooper. Finn is the first real stormtrooper that we can say, yeah, there's a backstory to this guy. And as Sam said earlier, yes, he instinctively was looking out for Rey. He didn't necessarily have to, he didn't necessarily want to, but it was in his instinct because, as he said to Poe, it's the right thing to do, and saving and protecting Rey was the right thing to do for him by picking up the lightsaber when she got knocked out, thinking, okay, I'm probably going to lose this battle against this guy, but I don't care, I'm going to go for it anyway. And he went for it, and he showed that he can, when he needs to, he can put up a good fight, which is what he did. I was pretty saddened when the lightsaber went through his back against Kylo. I was like, that's a bit harsh, dude. I mean, that's a cheap shot. I mean, come on, if you're going to take someone out, split the poor bugger in half at least. You know,
definitely
just half-assed it. You know, but yeah, no. As Sam said, I think they do feed off each other. You know, they are essentially like Leia and Luke in a way. They might not be brother or sister, but they have that bond essentially. You know, Rey looked out for him, Finn looked out for her. Yes, there was that moment in the cantina where Finn says, you know what, I'm done, I want to get off this planet because everybody wants to do this, everybody wants to do that. Everybody has an obsession of going back to Jakku for some strange reason, whilst he wants to get away from that planet. So yeah, they do feed off each other, and for me, if I was to pick my best character out of the pair of them, I would have to say Rey because she's a strong character. And yes, I think seeing Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road, I think I have to say that Daisy Ridley has come out on top as being the lead female character to show such unique strength and character, and just that development of her. You know, as you say, she started out just this scavenger on a deserted planet, and suddenly she's one with the Force. So I think that's a beautiful way to tell her story.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And real quick for the other three of you guys, did you guys get over your thoughts on Finn and Rey?
Still.
I didn't get my thoughts on it. Well, for me, you know, going into it, like for me, this would this be my first Star Wars movie? To me, I gotta admit, I have to say Finn and Rey relationship. Well, I won't say the relationship, but dynamic. How they bounced off each other. I liked it. Like it kind of made me feel for the characters. Like when I saw, you know, Kylo Ren, you know, slashes Finn character in the back, and I kind of felt like, because I kind of grew with the character, even though I feel like it was more of a Rey story than Finn's story, because it started off with Finn and it goes to Rey. I saw that moment in me, and I ain't gonna lie to you, dude. This coming from a guy who, like, first Star Wars movie. I saw that, bro. A cheerleader roll down my eyes, like, man, they killed Finn, man. They killed my black brother, man. Doing it, man. They killed him. But like, I saw that, and it's like, you know, for me, and I gotta admit, to me, I feel like, you know, I'm going what's your name? Why you think? And I was saying, like, I was watching that scene, and I was like, I agree with you guys when they was, I think Finn, like, what I liked about Finn's character, as far as his relationship dynamic and how they both played off one another, was like, you know, Rey, she's a scavenger, she's salvaging things for parts, and then you got Finn over here, who's a stormtrooper, like the scene in the movie, you know, like the first scene, like the stormtrooper sitting there slaying the whole village, and he sees his friend covered in blood, and he's like, I can't do this. And then to see this, how he goes from, he's trying to, you know, she thinks that Finn's part of the resistance and part of the base and stuff like that. And then to see how that dynamic goes into how he thinks he needs to save her, really, like, going off what Sam said, I don't think Rey needs saving. I think, to me, my honest opinion, I think the person that needs saving the most was Finn. Because, like, the whole movie, he was scared the whole entire time. Like, he was like, we gotta run. Like, when they got to the, They got to the part where what's the girl name? I think what's the lady name? What's the small character name? Who she was part of the rebels, I think. She was I think she was part of rebels. I don't know, but yeah, she's part of yeah. And then she was there, and then the ideal of he's about to get up and go and leave and go to this planet, and then like, you know, Rey's telling him, like, don't leave, and he's looking at her and he stays for 1 second, like. And he about to get up and go, and just when he's about to go, Kylo Ren and the stormtroopers show up, wiping out this whole planet. Like, holy crap! But to me, I feel like, that dynamic between Rhea and Finn, I liked that dynamic because I actually cared for character. I even cared for Rhea at the moment, like when when Rhea runs Kylo Ren with the lightsaber, and she not that in the movie, but kind of like she's just that she's trying to hold on, and he kidnaps her, and he's like, I gotta save her, and like she's holding on against that. But to me, I feel like, for me, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I kind of glad they did that with Rhea, where they made it she hold her own and she really didn't need Finn's help. And Finn, I like the kind of idea that Finn, that you had Rhea, Rhea, she's a scavenger, and then you got one person who was an ex-stormtrooper who kind of went against it, who's like, you know what, I don't want to go part, I don't want to be part of this life anymore. And to me, I think they both played off one another, and I think, especially I think when Han Solo and Chewbacca showed up, I was like, okay, that really added dynamic onto it now, because you saw how both of them was like, holy crap, Kylo Ren killed his father. I'm like, oh my god, man, that to me, and this is coming from a person who watched it, I'm like, oh my god, like now I'm a Star Wars fan. Like, I understand why people love it now. I'm like, oh my god. And I felt sorry when they killed Han, but that can get to another with those discussion.
Yeah,
but,
we'll still get there.
Yeah, but it's like, man, I gotta say, man, I teared up watching this movie, bro. It's coming from a person who watched this. This is the first Star Wars movie ever. Like, I actually care for every character. But I think Rey and Finn was my Chewbacca, of course, and RD2. So I think, Finn and Rey relationship. I think that was the best. That was one of the strongest elements of the film to me, in my honest opinion, though.
Okay. And Shakim, is that how you say your name? Shakim?
Shakim.
Shakim. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. What'd you think about the two characters?
I guess I'm kind of on board with everybody else. I love their dynamic, and I think, Mike, that you said you felt like they were competing on screen. I think the competition that you were seeing, to me anyway, it was because Finn wanted to be like the man and the hero, and he was trying to do that, but Rey didn't need that. And I love Rey's character because, well, shocker, I love any badass heroine that like comes out and can take care of herself and is not like, oh my god, save me, and tripping and falling, all that stuff. She handled her own business. She was doing what she needed to do before he got there. When he showed up, he was running over to save her, and then he was like, oh, she doesn't need it. And then even in the scenes where Jakku was getting raided again, and he kept grabbing her hand, and she was like, I could run without you holding my hand, I'm fine. So I love that, but I think that the struggle on screen that you were seeing was him trying to be a man and a hero and save the damsel in distress, but there was no damsel there that needed to be saved. She was doing her own thing. Sure. And as far as I think Finn wanted to do the right thing, but I kind of see him more as the Han Solo, just because really he was about self-preservation. Like, he rescued Poe because he needed a pilot to get out of there. He even said that, like, why are you doing this? Because it's the right thing. You need a pilot. I need a pilot. So, and then I think at first when he saw Rey, it really wasn't about love at first sight. It was, he saw a pretty girl. He wanted to impress her, probably hoping, stuff could happen there. But then as the movie went on and as they went through more things, that, just wanting to bone turned into a genuine affection for her. And so then he really did care about her well-being. Because, up until the point where Kylo Ren took her, he was still like, look, we need to go. We all need to go right now. We need to get out of here. I don't know what you guys are, why you keep wanting to go back to Jakku and why you want to be part of the Resistance. We just need to find some place where they're not and stay there because they're crazy and I'm not about that life. But, yeah, so I like their dynamic. I like the growth that Finn showed throughout the movie, where he just kind of started out as somebody who was just trying to run away. And then by the end, he was actually invested and he cared. And Rey, she just had a solid performance through the whole thing. I mean, you can't,
Sure.
you can't be mad at her. And I think I would fight anybody that didn't like her, just because, I mean, she handled her business. So.
Okay. And Kyle, please tell the people what you saw of the two characters. What you think?
Well, let's see. Ray, I wasn't impressed, to be honest. I know you guys are big fans. Hey, whoa.
Damn, bro.
It's not because, but listen, it's partially because, number one, Daisy Ridley looks almost 99% like Keira Knightley,
She does.
and I can't stand Keira Knightley.
I disagree, but go on.
I mean, she's a good actress, but it's just, you know how someone's face can just kind of make you mad when you see it? And she uses too much teeth, man, like when she talks.
Why do you gotta keep the newcomer down? Why do you gotta keep the rising star down?
No,
You're
she's
just
good.
drowning on the
She's a good
star. You
actress.
basically are like, you don't deserve that Oscar.
Alright.
I said she's a good actress. She's a good actress. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But she uses too much teeth. That's where you're going at.
No. Keira Knightley uses too much teeth. That's different.
Alright.
What did you think about the character, Kyle?
Yeah, go on with the character.
Wow.
But anyways, I didn't like the character Ray that much. I felt like, I don't know, they were pushing the whole "I'm not a damsel in distress" thing too many times. Like, Star Wars is really famous for their women to be, like, you know, empowered. Like Leia, she's no joke. Like, she handles herself all the time. You know what I mean? And it's been like that through the entire series. Natalie Portman's character, she handled herself right there on Geonosis. Remember?
Hold on a second here. Are we actually going to acknowledge the prequels on this show?
No.
Not number one.
Acknowledging the prequels.
No,
not number one.
No, we're not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Not
we're
number
not.
one.
They don't exist.
Oh,
But
come
go
on.
on, Kyle. They don't exist. But go on, Kyle.
Ray's character, it's okay for now. I mean, obviously we'll see it grow, and obviously she's related to Luke in some shape or form. I'm thinking daughter is probably the best. Why are you laughing?
No, I'm not laughing.
Anyways, and Finn's character I really enjoyed though. He was underused. He really was, just like Phasma was. He was underused. I felt like he was more of the damsel in distress, to be honest, which he was.
Thank you.
He was running. He was on the run. He doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want confrontation. And we saw him go to those links for Rey. Like he stood up to Kylo Ren, who was extremely intimidating. He was wounded by Chewbacca's what is it called, bowcaster, and that thing's no joke. That thing shoots explosive bolts, and he took one right in the dominant, and you know, he went face to face with a trained, not Jedi, but you know, on his way to be a Sith Lord, and that was really impressive. But Rey's character, I got to see it grow, and I hope Daisy Ridley stops using so much of her mouth when she talks.
Okay. All right.
Stop using your mouth when you talk.
Yeah, it's just too much mouth. You guys know what I'm talking about.
All right. I know there's a lot of things that you guys want to speak about, but I'm just trying to keep this in sections because if not, we're just gonna spill all over the place. It's gonna be like, bleh.
Yeah.
But definitely the next things to talk about would be what were your guys' thoughts on the original crew? Obviously, that being Leia, Chewie, Han, and 3CPO. My quick thoughts: Chewie and 3CPO. They're okay. There's nothing about them that sort of I thought was they were just sufficient. They were just fine. They're just there. Though I will say about 3CPO, I am curious what's up with the red arm. Obviously, an answer is going to be coming to this, but I am extremely curious about that. And in regards to Han and Leia. Let's not go into his death yet because that's literally an entirely different conversation. But
he died?
With that being said, I thought Leia was okay, but she was just there. I think she was the most underused out of everyone for me personally. I mean, I don't think I can add any more to that. And with Han, I thought that Harrison Ford was perfect here. I thought his comedic timing was great. His performance was really good. Every time he was running, I was just like, "Damn, look at him go! That horse got to be beaten fast." But I thought everybody was great. But let's try to. I know it's difficult, but try to avoid Han's death when talking about. But what are your guys' thoughts on seeing the original crew again?
There's a lot of comparisons between Kylo Ren and Superman after this movie.
What the hell, Mike?
I mean,
What does Superman got?
I'm just saying, there's a lot of comparisons that can be made between Superman and Kylo Ren.
Oh, okay.
That's not the topic, Mike.
All right, but Mike, what do you think about the original crew returning?
The original crew returning was interesting. The only thing that was missing, that I'm probably going to write an angry rant about, is where the hell was Lando?
But what did you think about the crew that we got?
The crew we got was interesting. I think that the comedic timing for Harrison Ford was good. I think Leia was... I really wish they would have stuck more with the expanded universe when it came to Leia. I wish she would have actually had some time helping train Padawans at the Jedi Temple and then gone into being a general, instead of going straight into being a general. That could have actually helped with the whole situation that rose Kylo Ren if his mother was there.
Okay.
Well, let's not forget that. Let's not forget that it has been 30 years since Return of the Jedi. What's to say that she didn't have a hand in helping Luke train young Jedis? We might not know that. Maybe later on there might be a discussion between her and Luke, and they could have a reminiscing moment to say, "Oh, you remember that time when Kylo, or Ben, as he's actually called, tried this and tried that, and you made him not go that far, this, that, and the other." They might have that conversation. What's to say that she wasn't? She's a general now. She was a princess before, but was she something else in between those two roles? She couldn't have remained a princess for those 30 years. She could have been some sort of Jedi trainer or some sort of master, essentially. But we'll never know. Maybe we will in the next episode, but as I say, we'll never know. But for me, seeing the original crew, it was just amazing. Having Chewie there in particular, and seeing how he felt after what happened to Han as well. He like they say, don't piss off a Wookiee. Because he will take your arms out of your sockets, and he was prepared to do that. But at the same time, seeing Chewie there, seeing Han there, Luke at the very end, and C-3PO and R2-D2, just having them there, just gave you that sense of nostalgia. Basically, you in some ways you were sort of transported back to the original trilogy, and it was like just being back in those old films again, seeing this original crew and thinking, they've all got different roles now to what they had before, and yeah, it was very sentimental and very emotional, particularly from Han's side of things. So for me, I really was happy, and I'm glad that they are. Hopefully, in the next couple of episodes 8 and 9, hopefully we'll see more of Luke and more of Leia as well, and no doubt we'll see more of Chewie. So yeah, I say bring it on. So yeah, not a problem at all from me. I'm gonna have to cut this one short though, guys, because it's like 25 past midnight in the UK, and I've got to get ready for work in the morning. So
man.
But seriously, thank you all very much for letting me join in, and enjoy the rest of your discussion, and I'm sure I'll catch up with you all on the flip side.
All right. All right, cool, man.
All right,
Have a good night.
Peace.
All right, then.
Yeah.
All right. Sam, do you want to...
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yes,
as far
tell
as
us.
seeing the original characters, I love them being back. Not just because I've missed them for so long, but because they fit in with these new characters on the dynamics that this movie was platformed on the new characters, not because a byproduct of what had happened before, but literally the new legacy that was going on from the New Order and from the stage of these new characters such as Poe, such as Rey, such as Finn. It was surrounding them, even though the movie surrounded to try and define Luke Skywalker. It was it was a subtle nudge to each one of the characters, specifically like Leia and Han. Their dynamics together, I loved them together because they really felt like there was meat and weight and depth behind what had happened between them. Even though I didn't need to know why they weren't together or why she hadn't changed her name or anything like that, I could feel it. through the performances and in the sense of how it was present in this movie. You know, I think we keep on talking about like we wish people would have had more screen time, more of this and more of that, but I think that they couldn't do it in that way to make it a perfect dynamic film.
Yeah, and we're still gonna get to the negatives too, but
and I think that Chewie actually got a lot more time to shine than most of the films that I've seen. To be quite honest with you, I mean, yeah, he was very vulnerable. He got shot. He was like having some really comedic moments with Finn and his relationship, even with Rey. Like, I just really loved Chewie on scene this time. It was like it made me re-love Chewie all over again, and that could have been forced, but it was kind of authentically done in a certain kind of way that I liked. And then Han Solo, I mean, it was like Harrison Ford wasn't trying to be Han Solo. He was Han Solo. It was like, if I remember how he was 30 years ago, this would be an aged version of him. And I think that he played it the way that he should have, which was being that kind of that scoundrel that now he's more seasoned, he's more aged, he's learned stuff. But now the problem is everybody knows who he is. One of the things he had about him before is he was able to get away. And now he can't, and so he's got to find other means, like helping people or interacting with people like Rey and Finn to try to, you know, pick up the slack. Because even when he was telling Rey about like taking the job, which I think that that's something interesting about that in the family. I'm not gonna go there yet until we talk about stuff with Luke and with Rey or whatnot. But him giving her a job like that, I was like, he would never have done that before. You know what I'm saying? This is literally seeing a seasoned version of him. But I think the other thing that we have talked about before is like how he had gotten killed, which I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the build-up up until that point. When Rey got captured the first time, and she was totally vulnerable, he witnessed it. He didn't do anything about it because he was so in shock of seeing his son again. And I thought that was so subtly done because Finn, in that moment, like that was well acted because he was running and it was almost as though he's like he was broken inside because like nobody could save this girl. I thought that was executed well, but the fact that like Harrison Ford's character didn't do anything about it and he went back and talked to Leia about it, it was like he, in my opinion, knew that there was a risk that he could have died just because she was like, I can feel this still light in him. And I remember Padme saying something along those lines to Obi-Wan in the prequels, which we're not going to talk about. But it did happen. And it's a perfect symmetry in the sense of what happened with this because, man, it was deep, man. Like, it hurt me real bad when Han got killed, to be real. Yeah. But I felt like he knew what he was getting into. That's kind of... I felt like if he really wanted to engage his son a long time ago, he could have. And it was up until this moment that his significant other told him is the reason why he's doing this for his son. And I love that symmetry about his character. And the way they handled the original cast was awesome.
Okay. And the rest of you guys' thoughts on the original crew without talking about Han's death just yet?
I thought it was great. I thought there was actually just enough because I feel like this is passing the torch. It's not necessarily, you know, probably by the third installment of this, none of the old cast is going to be there anymore. It's probably just going to be all new cast. So I don't think that they want to give you too much. I think they're just like, you know, here's a little bit for your nostalgia. I know you were wondering what happened to them 30 years ago, so now you're getting a little taste of this. So I thought it was a good touch. I thought everybody did a good job, especially Harrison Ford. And yeah, that's. I mean, you know, there's still questions to be answered, but we still got more movies to go. So.
Yeah.
For sure. And
well, I go for me. Even though I like, even though it's my first I will saw a movie seen about, you know, Princess Leia, and I knew about Han Solo, Luke, Chewbacca. You know, I knew about them. I didn't know too much about. I know those names because I mean, they Star Wars lore. But for me, it's good to see that. You know, for me, because when I was watching it, it kind of made me brought back to those fans that, you know, who were Star Wars fans before that grew up doing it, and for me, before this movie, I was not a big Star Wars fan. But going into nostalgic and seeing Han Solo and seeing Princess Leia, because I have to probably watch prequels after this discussion. But all the movies before this. But seeing most of the original cast, not all of them come back, but Chewbacca and stuff like that. I was like, okay, because I was, for me, because I'm not, into Star Wars. I was like, okay, because going into this movie, I was thinking, where was Darth Vader at? And I was like, and they kind of, I'm not going to say the same because that's probably seen for another day, but this ain't another part of the discussion. But for me, it's good to see nostalgic because I feel like for those fans, 'cause I was in the theater, and those fans, I had people literally cosplaying these characters, but one guy was dressed as Darth Vader. And I was like, man, it's good to see people who grew a fan of the series, and now I'm a fan. I'm in love with Star Wars. I'm part of the Force now, but for me, it got me into the feeling now because now I have to go back to see the other movies to understand the Star Wars lore into it. So for me, I was happy that they put some of the old characters in there. But for me, like Luke Scott, I'm not gonna say Luke Skywalker, but when I saw Luke, I was like, okay, I'm a fan. I was like, it brought me back into it. It kind of, for me, because I was always a fan of Luke, even though I was not a fan of Star Wars in the beginning. So for me, seeing the old crew and seeing that nostalgia come back made me say, okay, but now I'm a fan. Because for me, I was always a fan of Luke, because my dad was a Star Wars fan. He loves Luke Skywalker, so. So for me, it brought back the childhood that my dad grew up on. So for me, it was, I gotta say, man, that nostalgia there was a good feeling to have, man. Just to see that old cast back,
Okay. Kyle, your thoughts?
Leia, she was underused. I felt like she was just kind of going through the motions, like you said earlier, to be honest. Used too much of her mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm kidding. But to be honest, my favorite to see was definitely Chewbacca. Like, it was so interesting to see them flesh out a character that the only way he communicates is in grunts and growls, and you get that feeling, like you can understand what he's trying to say, and of course it's cool to see Han Solo play off of that. It was good, man. It felt good. But I'm hoping to see Chewbacca get his own movie soon, maybe his own trilogy. Right?
Okay. All right. Did anyone else? Did everybody get a chance to speak on the original cast before I move on?
I just want to give some credit to a name that wasn't actually mentioned. The actor behind Chewie, Peter Matthew, is an amazing actor. Matthew he's been portraying the character for close to 30 years, and he was amazing at it.
Yeah, I thought he was good. So I know that the the negatives is something that everybody wants to get on, but not yet. There is one other thing I wanted to get to before that, which is the way that the Force is utilized in the film, and obviously, let's get into the lightsaber battle in this film. My quick thoughts are, I thought that the way that the Force was used in this film was so ingenious. Like I love how now when Rey, when she touches the saber and she sees the future, whatever the hell else she saw. Like when going forward, when someone sees the future, you see the future. When someone's using the Force, like you hear it, like literally, it has like a physical like sub bass, almost like a poltergeist entered the room sound to it. Like when Kylo Ren was sort of drawing on Poe Dameron, it like had this whole exorcism physical effect going on. Or when Kylo Ren turns around and he stops like a beam from a gun from Poe, like just stops in midair, and then it just like as soon as Kylo Ren is done, like the beam just like moves. Or even when Kylo like freezes Rey for a second, she's sort of like I thought the way that the Force was utilized, both from a visual and an audio standpoint, was just ingenious. And the lightsaber battle, oh my god! I mean, for me personally, this is probably my favorite lightsaber battle of the saga. I mean, I think just the nighttime snowy forest environment was perfect, and I loved how gritty and sort of brutal and not super choreographed the fight was. You know, it didn't feel like a dance or something like in the prequels to me, which we're not going to get into. But and it just felt vicious and raw, and I thought it was really, really cool. Let's not touch upon Ray too much. You'll probably understand why when we get into negatives. But what were your guys' thoughts on the lightsaber battle and how the Force was used in the film? Sam, do you wanna start, Sam?
Yeah, sure. Shoot, man. I mean, first off, the score was awesome, but the sound design and every single prop and every single thing that they used, specifically the usage of the Force, was so well done. I think when I first saw Kylo Ren and Poe is shot like this gun, you know, and all of a sudden he stopped in midair. I'd never seen anything like this. I was like, my instant impression for Kylo Ren would always be from that point, because I was like, I've never seen this before, nor have I ever heard it this way before. And then when he had him in the interrogation room and like he started probing, I was like, these are good actors to be able to pull this off. But then two, they have to work hand in hand with the musical design and the editing for that, because every single time there was an element of the Force or something that would happen, it was so well used. And I mean, if any of y'all went to the IMAX, which I did, oh my gosh, like it was almost like rumbling when you actually felt like the Force that was happening. I literally felt like I was immersed into it. And I don't want to be too quick on this, but as far as what was the second thing besides that lightsaber battle?
Just the lightsaber battle and thoughts on how the Force was used. So,
I mean, I think that you and me talked about it before, Jor-El, when we were saying that we were hoping, we had made our predictions and hoping that they wouldn't kind of make it so stylized and choreographed, as opposed to the originals, which was authentically done. Like, you felt when Luke was fighting with, you know, anger, or you felt when Vader was just like murking his own son, you know, in the second one. And those weren't like choreographed because they have flaws. I mean, Luke was not purely trained, and Vader was a cyborg. And it was like, I felt like the same exact thing in this one was treated very well. Like, you had a person that wasn't even a Jedi coming up against him, and then a person that really was a half-breed of a Jedi and a Sith. Like, he's trying to strive to be a Sith, but he was born into being a Jedi, in all honesty. And it's like they are conflicted and imbalanced people. And to see that fight, it made it so much more personal. And I really love the fight sequences, specifically when you see the lightsaber in the snow, and like he's trying to pick it up and he can't. And all of a sudden, after that point, when Rey grabs it, like I don't know if y'all theater freaked out, but everybody started cheering in the theater because the sound cue was so perfect when that happened. And then after that point, it was like you felt that classic kind of moment that, you know, this kind of feels like Luke in a sense, you know. I loved it. I loved it.
Okay, cool. And again, I don't want us to get into thoughts on Rey sort of winning the fight yet, because I think that's just better reserved for the negative part. But who wants to go next?
Well, for me, I'll go. For me, I feel like me, because me going into it, I gotta admit, for me, I love how they modernized the Jedi fights. They kind of made it authentic. Like it didn't feel like choreography. It didn't feel like it was choreographed. It felt like it was just free form, letting the actors do what they need to do. And I feel like the lightsaber battle between Rey and Kylo Ren, I feel like it was choreographed. It was choreographed very well, and how the characters were dealing, how they're dealing with emotions. And I agree with Sam this way. I think that when you see Rey over here, she don't want, she has his calling, but she don't want it. And then you got Kylo Ren over here, who want to be a Sith, and but he's been, he was trained to become a Jedi, and it's the battle and the conflict. But I gotta say, man, that moment where when Kylo Ren put that double saber out, he looked so badass. I was like, bruh, I like Kylo Ren, man. That saber looked badass, man. I'm sorry, it looked badass, man. And for me, the moment where it's like, Kylo Ren's trying to get the saber to come on, and she just grabs it and is like, holy crap! I was like, okay, this is right here. I liked it. They made me fall in love with it now because I'm like, okay, now I see. Now I understand what the Force is like. You know, the Force between the dark. I now understand a little bit the nostalgia, some of the stuff behind it. So for me, I think, because I don't want to get too much of it, but I think that as far as the choreographing, the lightsabers, and how the Force was used, I think it was done very well, executed very well. So that's my opinion.
Okay. And whoever wants to go next?
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I think the defining Kylo Ren moment for me is, you know, what everybody's saying when Poe fired the shot and everything just froze, and I was like, oh shit.
Oh yeah.
The Force is strong within that one, and that's where you do, like, this dude is about to be a beast throughout the whole movie, and you know, for the most part he was. So yeah, and I think the sound effects really help with, you know, letting you know the Force is being used right now. You know, it's strong. Yeah, and then the lightsaber battles, they were good. It was realistic. You know, it wasn't like Rey just grabs the lightsaber and all of a sudden she's like a sword fighting aficionado and she's doing backflips and stuff. Like, it was real. It was two people fighting and one person like definitely fighting to save her life and another injured person fighting. But I enjoyed it.
Sure. Kyle, what'd you think?
About the
yeah, about
are we talking about the end sequence, or are we saying
no, we're talking about how the Force is utilized in this film and about the lightsaber battle.
Well, in terms of how the Force was used, it was impressive to see how how Kylo used the whole stasis thing and froze the shot midair, and that kind of set the tone for Kylo as a character.
Mm-hmm.
And how powerful he's seen. I mean, he certainly is powerful, but he hasn't reached his full potential. We know that. And then the whole interrogation sequence where he was, you know, getting information from Poe, that was real. You could really see the struggle that Poe was giving out to keep that information from him, and it's really impressive. And I know for a fact that we're going to see some incredible stuff because, you know, Luke and everything else, he's more powerful. You're going to see different powers because over the years he's been nothing but meditating and practicing, and he's like the true Jedi Master now. So there's still a lot more to go with the Force powers, and also Kylo is now probably on the path to becoming a Sith Lord. And that's something that's really exciting for the future, for sure.
I mean, because if we were going to measure his skill set, I would put him at more of the level of an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Or this one. This was more... Because Star Wars Rebels is actually canon. And look at the Inquisitors that you actually see that Darth Vader and the Emperor used. A lot of the skill stuff that Kylo Ren has done, that's the type of stuff that you've actually seen in the animated stuff the Inquisitors do. So they were actually... Disney was setting up the precursor to the type of skill set you would expect from someone that's raw and untrained in the dark side of the Force. And he's an Inquisitor right now, in my opinion. I mean, once he actually gets more training from Commander Snoke / Darth Plagueis, hopefully, that's when we'll actually see him tap into being a Sith Lord, being the rule of two, being of the rule of two.
Okay. All right. Well, let's dive into finally the negatives here.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Luke.
Huh?
I thought you were gonna go about Luke, but we'll leave it alone.
No. We can't get to that yet.
Man, Luke pissed me off. I don't want to talk about it. Can't get paid for a movie and not say one damn thing.
Can we just file all three of the prequels into everything that's bad about Star Wars?
I literally wasn't even going to acknowledge the prequels. That's how much.
2 and 3 were tolerable.
But no, let's talk about the negatives of The Force Awakens. I will start off. I mean, just your all your ideas on the negatives. For me personally, I love the film. I think it's a masterpiece from J.J. Abrams, so there's not too many negatives. Mostly I just have nitpicks, to be honest. However, some of those negatives would be Snoke. I think that's how you say his name. I don't even know if it's negative, but it's sort of a negative because I go back and forth between seeing a giant, like 300 feet tall looking hologram of Snoke. I just thought that was just a bizarre representation. I mean, I got used to it, but I just thought it was weird, personally.
Well,
I'm not.
Look at the head of the Emperor. I mean, the holograms are meant to be intimidating, menacing.
Yeah.
They use the same exact thing in Who?
Yeah. I mean, it was. I don't know. It was sort of whatever. I mean, and his physical appearance. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But that sort of was a negative for me. Another thing that was a negative for me was that some of the characters felt underused. But again, that's sort of a nitpick more than a flaw for me because we don't have the complete picture, and they're being intentionally cryptic with the information. So, but again, I just thought it was weird that Captain Phasma, like, we don't even see Captain Phasma without a helmet. We really don't see her much at all. I thought Donald Gleason, again, was really underutilized. So that was, small thing, but still a negative. I think the biggest negative for me personally is the handlement of Han Solo's death. I mean, just only in an emotional sense only. I think the way that Han Solo died is actually freakishly perfect. But, I mean, especially the environment. Like, I just thought it was insane that, like, they're in the middle made for his death sequence, period. Like J.J. Abrams was like, oh, I got this idea of this death sequence on the bridge. I don't know how we would make that work. And, like, you know what I mean? But I just saw, like, just the bridge and this giant cavernous space and speaking to his son and then being struck down. I thought it was a perfect concept, but it just didn't emotionally resonate with me. And I've been trying to figure out why, and maybe it's because I kind of figured that he was going to die before the movie's inception. Even as he was about to hit the bridge, before he even spoke to Kylo Ren, I thought he was going to die, honestly. I knew he was dead right then and there, so maybe that's it. Or maybe it just was executed wrong. Because I'm telling you right now, this was a sequence where Han Solo got stabbed, and like Han Solo tried to, crawl away, and Kylo Ren was sort of like torturously slashing him down. Maybe I could have like shed a tear. I don't know, but those are sort of my only negatives. What about you guys?
Well, for me, it's weird. That sequence, I know I'm not gonna go on my negative just yet. That sequence to me, it hit me, but it didn't make me cry until I heard Chewie's yell. Like, it didn't make me feel like I wanted to cry until like I heard literally this Wookiee screaming in pain. I think everybody else's surrounding stuff was what really hit me the hardest, other than the emotional turmoil that I saw. But the build-up was perfect, and the sequencing was perfect. Specifically, how everything was dark. I think how Kyle and Mike described it. But what they could have done, all honesty, they could have allowed Kylo Ren to literally give the lightsaber over to his dad, right? And then at that point, once it goes completely dark, he literally used the Force to grab it back and then either one, stab his dad or cut his dad's head off. I think that they had to keep it a certain kind of tone so they could literally feel that emotional turmoil of like Han holding, his son's face one last time to show him like, look, in spite of what you just did, I still love you, which was surprising. I think that kind of took away when it could have been so much more emotional. Because if he had give up his lightsaber for real, and that showed the real conflict, and then him deciding to grab it back and just strike his dad, I think that would have hit me a lot harder than what it actually happened. But either way, like I said, the surrounding things is what actually got me. I think that the captain...
Sam, you should definitely get into your negatives, though, for sure.
No, that's what I'm talking. Yeah, that's what I'm going with this. The captain. I forgot her name. The girl from
Phasma.
Yeah, Captain Phasma. She wasn't used. like she wasn't used at all. I mean, like, dare I say they maybe shouldn't have even allowed her to even speak or bring her into this, other than kind of like a cameo of seeing like after the planet gets blown up, like the ship that's resonating what's left over. Maybe she would have been a better place there to move into episode 8. Because I mean, the last thing we remember about her is her getting like pushed down the laundry chute, or not the laundry chute, but the trash compactor. It was like, I mean, I think it was an underutilization of her character.
You know something that would have made her character perfect? Make her a Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian?
Make her a Mandalorian. Make her a descendant of the Fets.
I mean, well,
that would be nice. I would have liked to see that. There.
I think a lot of people were saying that Maz was not going to be as good, but I actually liked her character. I'm trying to find something that I really didn't
See,
like.
Maz looked too much like a cartoon character. Everything looks so freaking authentic. I mean, they used original film. They tried to make this as authentic as possible, yet they didn't use puppeteering for Mace Kunata. They used CGI, and they CGI'd the fuck out of her.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of people.
Like she was out of place.
A lot of people compare Maz Kanata's character could have been on that level of Yoda just because she's over 1,000 years old. I think it would have played better if they would have made her into kind of like a puppet.
But they could have done Yoda. They could have done her like they originally did Yoda with the puppeteering. Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say. But the thing is that it still doesn't take away from anything for me. That's nitpicking to me. It wasn't something that kind of affected me because, I mean, they did have CG characters in and out. I mean, it would have been cooler if they would have done it, but that's just kind of nitpicking for me. I'm trying to think something that I didn't like. Actually, there wasn't too much that I can really pull apart without, like, just grasping at straws. Like, it was kind of a more fulfilled experience for me. And I've seen the movie now 3 times that I could try to find flaws in it, but I'd be really trying to find a reason to dislike it.
Yeah, Sam, what rating would you give it out of 10?
Oh, wait, don't go there just yet.
Oh, that's the end? I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give it a rating then. It's all nothing.
Not yet. No, just I'm just trying to keep it, But did you have any other flaws that you had with the film?
Honestly, man, not really, dude. I mean, I didn't think that I would actually like Snoke. The first time that I watched the film, it kind of threw me off just him being a hologram. It was kind of misleading, but then I thought about the fact this is 30 years later, the technology does improve over time. But the second time I watched it, I was thinking to myself who this character could be. And then, like y'all expressed, Plagueis, if it does come down to that, it's going to be awesome having Andy Serkis be him. But other than that, I mean, I don't really have a problem with even Snoke because, like, he said some interesting things to Kylo Ren that I really did like. But I can't find anything else really that I want to go with.
The way he was interacting, it looked like he's, for one, that scar matches up with what Darth Plagueis should have after he died by the hands. It looks like somebody that would be disfigured from Force Lightning. And Force Lightning is how Dark Sidious killed Darth Plagueis, supposedly.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he looks like what you would expect somebody that suffered from Force Lightning to be looking like.
Yeah.
And then using the Force, not to mention, remember that physical attribute to being endowed in the dark side of the Force for eons upon eons that I mentioned earlier?
Yeah.
He looks like someone that's actually dealing with that as something he's going through.
Hey, Mike, real brief, what is the things that you didn't like about it? Because we're kind of running really overtime.
Oh, God, yeah. Okay, well, there's 3 things I didn't like about it. Mace Kunata would be one of the top things. I mean, I like the concept of the character. I just wish more puppeteering was done with that. Number 2, Lando. Main character from the original trilogy, yet no mention of him, no one that actually could be around that could be him. They didn't link Finn to him, which I thought they were going to do. They could still do that in 8 or 9, but it's that lack of Lando being there. I mean, this is somebody that was a primary, fundamental piece of the trilogy when it was going down in the original, yet he was nowhere to be seen.
Okay.
Somebody like that just doesn't disappear. My third problem would be the way the lightsabers were used, because the way that lightsabers were originally supposed to be used is because there's supposed to be some control with the Force when wielding a lightsaber. You had people that weren't even Force sensitive able to freaking use it like they've been using it for like 20 years.
Well, no, okay.
Rolling around like he was Mace Windu.
Well, I see. This is the other thing that we don't have the time to talk about, but I'm gonna bring it up real brief. The fact that with Finn's character, Kylo Ren knew that there was something really different about him, even in the first time that he was in battle. Like, he literally turned and looked at him directly, like there was something off about him.
Memorized his number, too, remember that.
Exactly. Every single thing that Finn did, y'all said that, I mean, he was running and yes and that. Yeah, he was afraid, but this dude was combat ready. Every single time that he fired a shot, generally he hit his target with the gun or with the blaster, and those kind of reflexes are on Jedi level, or at least the ability to potentially go that route. And even with his interaction with Kylo Ren, this should have been, even with Kylo Ren still hurt, there should have been no way he was supposed to be able to get that shot off, but he did hit him in the arm. And it's not just, to me, that is something else going on with this character we haven't found out yet. As well as with Rey, I've said this in the discussion with the chat, I've been talking to them back and forth. I feel like with Rey's character, her power within her is so underdeveloped in the sense that she has no idea how truly raw power she is. It kind of reminds me of Anakin Skywalker. Like, literally, this dude is so overwhelmed with it that he kind of is, how do I say, he's overzealous and kind of like, I'm this, I'm that. She's the opposite of it. And with her character being that way, it makes for, when you see her like interact with the lightsaber for the first time or even having these visions, they're just coming out spontaneously. It's literally flowing out of her. It's literally like she's manipulating the Force without knowing she's doing it. And at a certain point, she's going to hit a bowling point. Like, to me, I can't wait to see what they're going to do with Episode 8 with her. But when I think about Luke, when the first time he had the blast shield over his eyes, when he was able to defend against the orb, you know what I'm saying? Like, hers is more potent because she has more power, in my opinion. She, in my opinion, is more comparable to Anakin Skywalker. And I think that's why a lot of the jealousy was there with Kylo Ren, why he knew who she was. And I'm not going to go into that, but a lot of people have been nitpicking about that. And I'm telling you, there's something else going on with the Force that we really can't comprehend between this episode and the 8th. And if we got it this episode, it'll be too much story that was fleshed out too early, where they could literally drop into something more. I'm not gonna say any more though.
Sure. One thing I do want to say, I want to have the next person going be Cine Gaming. Hey man, well, first off, you came and I'm not sure if, but you want to just give your thoughts on your negatives on Force Awakens. You sort of came in a little bit late for us, but all good. Oh, wait.
It looks like he's saying something profound, but...
Yeah, I think you're muted.
We can't hear you.
Silent but deadly, man.
Oh, whoops, sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Alright, so I was saying sorry for coming in late and for joining during the negatives. And I'll try to keep it short. I saw the movie Sunday. I went to the IMAX in... I forgot what it's called, the Airspace Museum, which is like the biggest IMAX in the world. Anyways, the negatives, I kind of felt like the movie was kind of too predictable. And in some scenes, like for example, the scene when Han Solo was with, I forgot his name, his kid, Kylo Ren. As soon as I saw that scene and Han Solo was approaching him, I kind of told myself Han Solo's gonna die. And then 5 minutes later on, Han Solo died. The scene with the giant Death Star, I forgot what it's called now, but I kind of had a feeling, yeah, they're gonna bypass the shield and they're gonna destroy it, and they got destroyed. There was another scene that I felt was really predictable, but I forgot what it was. But I know it was 3 scenes on the movie that I was just like, well, I already know what's gonna happen as soon as I saw it kind of going in motion, and that's as far as I can think of, those are the 3 negatives that I had. I know I missed 1 negative, and I'm saying I had 3. I forgot what the other one was.
Sure.
It was just 3 negatives, and it was about the movie being too predictable for me. But besides that, I loved it. Action was great. I liked the introduction of the new characters. And yeah, I'll just keep it short.
Okay, fair enough. Who wants to go next with their? I just wanted you to go next because you just came and you didn't get a chance. But who wants to? Who wants to go next with their negatives?
So I think the negatives for me is kind of what you guys have already touched on. It seemed like there's a formula that they were following, kind of mimicking the original trilogy. So there was stuff that you could recognize happening, and that's probably why you didn't feel so emotional when Han died, because as soon as he handed Chewie the detonator, like, here, take the detonator, I was like, oh, well, he's gone. That's it. So, when he died, everybody else was like, and I was like, what, you guys didn't see that coming? Really? And then, there were just a couple of other things that followed suit with the original movies, so it's just like, yeah, okay, I see this. To what Mike said, I'm actually glad that they didn't connect Finn to Lando, because, come on, I just don't make it that like the two black characters in the movie, and then you want to link them together like we're all cousins.
It's also between Lando and James Earl Jones. I mean, you could have made this James Earl Jones' son, and I would have been happy.
Okay.
He could be a voice's son.
He could be the voice's son.
Okay.
He was spoken into existence with the Force.
Got you.
Yeah, other than that, I think the only other thing was just some stuff that was just kind of quickly explained away, like Poe, like, oh, I got blown out of the ship, and now I'm here. And just kind of like, oh, okay, but how are you here? What happened? Who picked you up? How did you contact anybody?
Flew on the wings of BB-9.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, it was cool.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, at least Poe got an explanation. He at least got to explain that away. Lando hasn't even got explained away. We don't even know what Lando's in the wing.
Sure. I guess Kyle.
Now let Chris go, man.
Oh, Chris.
I'll go. For me, well, this is my first Star Wars movie, and I got it to me 10 out of 10. I had no problem with it. The only problem I had with it, the only problem I'm gonna have, I agree with Sin again with. It was kind of predictable though. Like I was watching, like you look at the Death Star, like they had the whole planet become a damn weapon, and I was like, this is just speaking to persons. When you watch this movie, I'm like, Poe's gonna, like he said, they gonna lower the shields. They're gonna sneak through there and blow up the machine and then beat the man. But to me, one thing I don't see another thing to me that kind of ain't shaking my head was like, Poe, come on, man! Like the ship blows up, and he just happened to show up, everything all fine and stuff. I mean, you just damn near got almost swallowed by a monster. How did you survive all that? But that's just nitpicking movie. But to me, I still think the movie was 10 out of 10. It has some flaws, and I think to me one of the biggest, and this is a small nitpick, was the Death Star. To me, it was like the plot. I'm like, it was too easy, and I feel like the whole thing with don't I'll tell you what's another thing was a small nit. Kylo Ren was going to talk to the guy with the general next to him, and he was just going. They were just going like he was like, look, I can get the information out. And he was like, nah, man, we need to destroy the resistance. I'm like, y'all both on the same team here. Like, why can't y'all just work together? But like, I just think that was my only thing to me pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna see it 2 more times so I can fully understand and get the Easter eggs and references. But to me, I still think it was predictable moments, like the moments when I saw Han Solo walk up, and I thought, we had the light hand and the lightsaber, I was like, he gonna eventually turn dark and stab. Now, I even though I still feel some type of emotion because I'm like, oh my God, they killed him. But I was like, okay, and then that moment for me, But to me, I say for me, one thing to me, and I feel like was kind of like I was kind of shaking my head with this thing. I know Finn. I like the Finn character. I think Finn was developed well. Get more character development episode. I was trying to shake that lightsaber, and he just sitting there. Okay, now Luke Skywalker and the Jedi to maintain lightsaber, you doing it. Like I kind of like the Finn character because he had a little fight in him. But like, come on now, he's holding his own with Kylo Ren. Even though I like the fight, I think the lightsaber, from Raya, which I kind of understand with Raya, I don't know, but from Raya to Finn, like everybody just managed to make, is able to wield Luke's, a lightsaber. I'm like, but he's a Jedi. He's been training for years, and Finn is just this newcomer. Just happened. He don't have like the Jedi Master Tricks down yet, but he still have the core elements. I'm like, okay, you know what, man? This is a small nitpick, but come on, man. Like you being telling me, well, he is a stormtrooper, but still, though, a stormtrooper be able to wield a lightsaber, logic. 1-on-1, but that just was a small nitpick, but still 10 out of 10 to me. I couldn't. It's not too many things that make this movie bad. I just think the Death Star and Finn be able to wield the lightsaber like that, like he just been doing it for 20 years, was probably one of my biggest nitpicks. And just how the bad guy was able to get defeated. But that's just my small nitpicks, though.
Okay. And Kyle.
All right. Well, I'll keep mine simple through the point system here. Number one is Ren, Daisy Ridley. She uses too much teeth when she talks. Number two, hey, don't judge me, bro.
Name is Ray. You said Ray.
Right.
Whatever. Anyways, hey man, it's 8. I'm tired. Anyways, number two, I do think it was a bit predictable, like everyone's saying. A lot of people, that's their number one complaint, is that it's too much like the previous trilogy. But people have to understand that there are generations of people that haven't even seen, a Star Wars movie or seen the original trilogy. They've only seen the prequels.
I was one of them. Going into it.
Right. So, and this is Disney. Disney owns this. They are all about making this as family friendly as they possibly can without upsetting groups and groups of people, and they want to retell a story that's already been told, but in a different way, grander scheme, and they want to drag this out and make as much money as physically possible. So that's why the story was rehashed in a different, not totally different, but in a different way, and they're introducing new characters for a new generation to really, love like we do from the original trilogy. So I mean, that's why the story was rehashed, in my opinion. My third point and last point is underused characters. Like Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Phasma, was under Kylo Ren was one of the most important reasons I wanted to see this movie. I was a big fan of Boba Fett and Jango Fett, and she was so underused in this movie. It was insulting because she is such a driving force in Game of Thrones. It's not even funny.
But Kyle, would you agree that making her a Mandalorian would have added so much depth to her character?
It would have, but well, I mean, at this point, we don't even know if she's a small cube of trash right now, or
if she's been swallowed by the giant tentacle monster that lives in the
exactly, or if she's alive and she's gonna get a huge story arc in the future, which I honestly think she is. They're gonna obviously, you don't just have Gwendolyn Christie go on the huge promotion run that she did on multiple stations, and she was on screen for maybe a total of like 3 to 5 minutes, if that. Sure. And you know what I mean. So that obviously she's gonna have a story arc going on into the future films, and that's awesome because Boba Fett is he's a lot of people's favorite character, and she's the closest thing that we really have to a Boba Fett or a Jango Fett. So, and that really pissed me off, to be honest, because she's so badass looking. She's a giant chromed out stormtrooper. And she's like 7 feet tall? I mean, but they'll probably have her in the future movie, which is exciting. And I mean, yeah, we've gone on for a long time, so I have to give you my points, right? I have to give you my points. I have to rate this movie probably like a 9.6 for me.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know we were gonna run this long. I keep my videos extremely short, or at least as short as I can on my channel. Not that it's a bad thing, I'm just saying. But
Right, yeah,
but
yeah.
no, the only other two things that I wanted to get into. There was a third thing, but we'll see. But the two things I wanted to get into finally here was your favorite shot or favorite scenes just in general from Force Awakens, and what were your guys' thoughts of our literal final shots of the film, obviously being Luke Skywalker. For me, quickly here, I mean, my favorite shot or scene, I probably should have thought about this deeper since I made the question. I think probably just the introduction of Rey, I think, would probably be my favorite scenes because
Really?
I'm yes,
For
in my
real?
in my opinion,
All
it's
right.
real. It's it's real right now. But when she was introduced into the film, like her scavenging through the Star Destroyer, like the film just felt like you felt the weight of the budget. Literally, it was just oh my god, it just blew my mind. I was like, holy shit, Star Wars is back. So that's probably my favorite scenes. And the final shot with Luke Skywalker. Personally, I think this is the best Star Wars ending to date for me personally. I thought it was a literal perfect cliffhanger. Like the perfect way to get people blue balls until 2017. 2017. I just thought it was just incredible. I don't know. When this movie ended, it was like, like a roller coaster, like just getting off of a roller coaster ride, So, but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on your favorite scenes and the final moments with Luke Skywalker?
So my favorite scene was it was the introduction of Kylo Ren and that freezing of the shot that had me like at that point I was like, okay, I'm invested. You guys got me. And
And when he took
then
his helmet off, right?
yeah, they lost me for like 10 seconds.
Damn.
And then for the final scene, I think it's funny you say blue balls because I like as soon as the credits rolled, I was like, what a cock tease! Like, I know everybody was waiting the whole movie just to see Luke, and then like at the end, he doesn't even say anything, and then it's just like this long ass stare, and I was like, I mean, of course, I'm eagerly anticipating now 2017, sure. But can we get a word? Maybe just a hi or something?
Oh, by the way, I mean, there's one other topic. I don't know if we'll get there, but we can give ratings now. I gave it a 10 out of 10, but would you?
I'm going 9 out of 10 just because of the predictability and then some of the other little things that I nitpicked in my mind.
Okay, I didn't know if there's anything else you want to add. I just want to say we can give ratings now.
I'm a short and sweet kind of person. That's it.
Yeah, I'm feeling 10. And
I'll go. I'll say 10 out of 10 for me, but let me say 9.10. I agree with her. That 9.10 because it's kind of predictable, like some of the predictable things, but it's any movie you cannot name any movie that's predictable, but any movie is predictable. So for me, I would say 9 out of 10, 9.5 out of 10, but still a good movie though. Like I'm a fan now. I'm invested in Star Wars now, so it got me. I'm part of the Force now. So
okay. Who else wants to go next?
All right, I'll go. I want to say one of my favorite shots in the movie is the scene when I forgot names. When Ray and the other guy when they're running, and towards the beginning where they're getting shot at by the First Order, and they run to the ship, and he's like, "What about that ship?" She's like, "No, that's a piece of garbage. Let's take this one. This one's way faster." And then they blow up that ship.
Oh yeah.
The way that they showed the Millennium Falcon, like the way it was introduced, I thought that was like beautiful. Like at that point, I was like, "Yes, that was pretty awesome." So I really enjoyed that shot, and I wanted to point that out. But my favorite scene is someone mentioned earlier, where when they kind of introduced Kylo Ren, when when he gets shot and then he just stops it with the Force, and you kind of just see that, and he just leaves it there like in place, and he says, "Bring him to me" or whatever. I really like that scene right there. I think that's my favorite scene of the movie.
Okay.
And as far as rating, I'm not really solid on this, but I want to give it a 8.5 out of 10.
Okay, nice. That's what my one of my best friends gave it. That saw it in IMAX with his exact rating. But anyway,
Yep.
Who wants to go next?
I'll take it.
All right. So your favorite scenes and thoughts on our final moments with Luke.
Okay. My favorite scene would have to be Force grabbing the lightsaber in the forest on Starkiller Base by Rey.
Mm.
The whole theater, the second that happened, went silent. And you just knew some shit was about to hit the fan the second she grabbed that lightsaber.
Oh yeah.
That look of shock on Kylo Ren's face just blew me away and made the $20 I spent on that ticket completely worth it.
All right. And would you think about our final images of Rey and Luke Skywalker?
The only thing it was missing is "I am your father." The only damn thing it was missing could have been the words coming out of his mouth, and I would have basically just jumped out of my seat and ran around the theater.
Okay. Would you rate the movie? Your rating?
I would give it a 10 out of 10. It's possibly the second best movie in the franchise.
Turn up, but but who else didn't get a chance to? Or Sam? Did you go?
No, I was out. I don't know if y'all noticed. I had to go. Like, they knocked me out.
I saw you walking around.
Yeah, I was trying to get back online, and it said y'all were gone. So what's the question? What did I give it a rating, and then the final?
Your rating and shit, I almost forgot my own question. Your rating and your favorite shot or scene, and what were your thoughts of the very, very ending with Luke Skywalker and yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, coming into it, I was thinking to myself that this is gonna be better than the prequels, but I never thought it would be better than some of the originals. And I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. This is one of my favorite movies this year. Mad Max, Sicario, Creed, those are awesome movies, but this, it exceeded my expectations on a different level that I couldn't even really imagine. I've seen the movie 3 times now. So as far as a favorite sequence, there were so many. The IMAX sequences, when you actually seeing like the TIE fighters and you seeing like the aerial shots, specifically the Millennium Falcon IMAX shot, when they are on Jakku, bro, I almost shed a tear. I almost shed a tear because this is amazing. You know, I think when I first saw the first trailer, that caught my eye, but I did not know it would go to that level. I can't really pick a favorite part because I love the dissection of the whole entire movie. I think that one of the most memorable parts was specifically when Rey held out her hand and grabbed the lightsaber, because it's just so pivotal and it was so on cue, but it meant something to everybody in the audience because it was like, no matter what, light will prevail to some capacity. And I think that somebody has said that light needs to come back, basically. And I love that prospect about coming forward into this new franchise. The final sequence with Luke looking at Rey. Am I going to go into all this speculation about her being his daughter and all this kind of stuff? I'm not going to go there, even though there are subtle cues throughout the entire movie when Han is interacting with her, when Leia gives her this embracing hug like this is her niece, you know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't matter. The final sequence when you see Luke for the first time, even like the whole location, I think they were in Ireland, I think, when they shot that, and getting to the Jedi Temple and whatnot, I felt as though Luke was really doing what Yoda did, and that he felt like he failed. We haven't talked about the Knights of Ren at all and what they've done and how they just kind of ruined and wrecked his whole prospect of recreating the Jedi Order. But we can feel through his expression his failure. And to me, I feel like Yoda, at the end of the prequels, even though people don't like the prequels, he left to go into exile because of his failure. And it was like he went there and he stayed there until Luke found him. But it was like he could have went back. He could have went and done, probably put in some good work. But I felt like Luke did the same exact thing in perfect symmetry up until the point that this young girl finds him with his lightsaber and gives it to him. She's not saying, train me. She's like, this is yours. Do something about it. But he's looking at her like, no, you're going to do something about it. And then the look on his face, it was almost like all this pain you felt, then this need to be close to this girl. And it was like, it was so sincere and so beautiful that he didn't have to say a thing. A lot of people are like, you know, say something. But to me, it resonated so much more because he didn't say anything.
Right.
And I mean, that was one of the things that I loved about this. It's so ominous, and it's the perfect cliffhanger. Definitely, this ranks number 2 to me out of the whole Star Wars franchise. Second only to The Empire Strikes Back. And if I look at it more, it might even go up further. But I'm gonna leave it at that.
Sure.
That's my thoughts.
All right. So, a couple things. One. This was a dense conversation.
Oh my gosh, CJ is here, bro.
What?
CJ just came in, man.
Oh, what a time he came in at.
For real. You want to tell us what your favorite moments were and what you gave it a rating for?
Yeah, CJ, just be clear, you're rating. You're rating your favorite scene, and what did you think of the Luke Skywalker sequence?
Tell me more.
The suspense.
They do.
The
He pulled Luke Skywalker, guys.
I don't know, but I feel like I understand what he's saying to me. Did
Right.
Get that?
Yeah, I feel like he's like. But for the record, guys, the only other topic I was going to get into is, what were your guys' hopes or predictions for Episode 8? I didn't know if some of you guys needed to drop off or something, but that was the only thing I had left.
Okay.
That was it. But I don't know if CJ can hear us.
Why don't we save that for part 2? Why don't we do predictions part 2?
I didn't know we were doing a part 2.
Yeah, so, okay, for the record, and I know this might have been partly my fault.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Real quick about the movie. I enjoyed it. I think I commented on somebody else's podcast,
Okay.
we were somebody else's podcast.
We were just curious what your rating was. What was your favorite scene, and what did you think about the Luke Skywalker sequence in general?
I liked the movie. Like I said, it was original trilogy, greatest hits, pretty much, with some new stuff spliced in. I'll probably get more in depth with it when I record tomorrow podcast, but I give it the A-. Like I said, I think my only gripe was just, and it's not really a gripe so much that it's just it was just pretty much original trilogy homages, which, like I said, it's a bad or good thing. It's for better or worse. That's what you're getting and stuff. But like I said, they put a lot of, I think the characters is what made the movie better, because for the most part, even criticism against the movie, a lot of people like all the characters, which it makes sense because all the characters were strong. So I think my only gripe was just a lot of stuff got Captain Phasma. I know they're pushing her to probably be a bigger role in the sequel and stuff, but it would be nice to see a little bit more of her. I think my favorite moment was probably the Kung Fu stance Stormtrooper against Finn. He had the stun rod. That kind of threw me off for a second, even though I saw it in the previews, but it threw me off where I was like, oh, I guess these Stormtroopers mean business. I think that and the final lightsaber fight with Finn and Rey versus Kylo and stuff. I thought that was actually pretty cool. I know most people didn't like the fact that Rey could use the Force quick, but I think, as the title said, the Force Awakens. So obviously, you know, bringing balance to the Force, she is the one that's going to bring balance a little bit. So hence why she was able to use, you know, the Force powers. But I even think that even then, it came out of more of her being desperate to stay alive than actually just using it for the sake of it. So I think that's what most people kind of forget, is the fact that she was using it out of a sense of like, hey, I'm trying to stay alive. I ain't trying to die. So, but yeah, I think going forward, they're definitely going to probably, hopefully, only thing I can say for the sequel is no more super weapons. I don't need another Death Star. Just don't do it again. Don't need that. Just keep it to like the sequel being about, I guess, them fighting the Knights of Ren, if there's any more left. I guess, I don't know. Pretty sure the second one is gonna be her training on a Luke, obviously.
Sure. Would you think about the Luke Skywalker?
I thought it worked, because I think if you put Luke in the movie, I mean, I know that's kind of contradictory saying this. I think it would have kind of took away from some of the newer characters, because then you're like, oh, what's Luke going to do now? And I know that's saying a lot, because Han Solo was with the new characters, and he really didn't overtake anybody, you know, acting and stuff like that. So I think with Luke, though, since he is the Jedi of this world and stuff, it would have took away, because then it would have been like, well, what's the stakes in the Kylo Ren match? What's to stop Luke from just jumping in there and just fighting them himself? So you had to do that in there, and it made sense, because like I said, Luke is guilty of causing this chaos that happened in the first place, so he's going to keep a distance from all this and stuff. And I think he was probably the reason why R2-D2 actually activated at the end of the movie too. So I'm pretty sure he sensed all this infighting happened in the first place. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, it's funny. I thought we were gonna get to this point a while back, but I don't know. I mean, the only other thing I had was like, what was your guys' predictions or hopes for episode 8? But I don't know. Like,
I should say this though. I should say this too. Everybody's forgetting Rogue One coming out next year. That's going to be pretty good. That might tie into Rebels than the actual episode 7. Because I think Rogue One is about them getting the plans for the first Death Star, I think.
Sure. Okay.
I think that's what the plot point is. I don't know, don't quote me on that, but I think that's what the plot is for that movie, so
okay.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of interesting how they do that.
But I didn't know if you, Sam, should we do a part 2, or should we kind of briefly go through our episode 8, or?
So I made a mistake in that, okay, believe it or not, y'all, we actually supposed to have even more people that are even here now, but the problem was they're in a different time zone. Some people were in Australia. Rihanna, Nicole, Adele were supposed to be here. Thankfully, Walu came in. Ash wanted to come in. So I know a lot of people want to do, I guess now it would be called a part 3 because you made it part 2.
Yeah.
So if y'all were interested, maybe we should try to add this into a part 3.
I would love to
go into our speculation of Rogue One, the Han Solo film that's coming after Episode 8, and then just Episode 8 in and of itself. This is a perfect cliffhanger for a franchise that's been breathing new life. Not just that, we didn't even talk about the numbers and the amount of money that this franchise has made.
Put it this way, before I go, I guarantee you by the end of this week, it'll be close to $1 billion.
Wow.
I guarantee you. It already made close to like $600 million already.
Yeah, I think today it hit the 600 and some change mark. So, I mean, I think that we can leave that for next time, if you're cool with that, Joe.
Curious, does anyone know how long we've been going?
It's 2 hours and 14 minutes. I've been tracking it and talking to the people in the chat.
My God. Well, it's funny. I told my subscribers, like, I wanted to sort of give you guys an exhaustive, and that happens. But, yeah, I think we should do another part, but maybe we should do it, like, on your channel or, like, someone else's channel. We should try that. Because I think I said everything I had to. But, I think that's all my thoughts on it. The Force Awakens. And we all gave our ratings. So yeah, guys, I'm probably about to just stop recording live here, but that is all of my thoughts on Force Awakens. And yeah, I guess in the next part, I think I don't know whose channel it'll be on, but either way, I think next time we should like get into thoughts on episode 8, like Ryan Johnson, or even episode 9 too, and other rumors.
Yeah, because I think that we had room to talk about the Knights of Ren, Snoke potentially being Darth Plagueis.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much that we can really go into on the mythos side. So yeah, we can do it on my channel if you want, man. Yeah, for sure. If anybody's willing to join in,
I'll be down
let me know.
I'll be down for discussion.
Yeah, and which fun fact, people, I don't care about Rogue One anymore. I'm sorry. I want episode 8. That's it. I don't care about Han Solo. I don't care about Rogue One. I hope it's good, but I really don't care anymore. Sorry. But anyway, that's all. That's all I got. So,
well, all right, everybody.
All right.
All right.
Later.
Nice chat, guys.
Nice chat with y'all.